Hey Hylians! Wow, it has been a while since I've said that, but it's really nice to be back with something new for all of you. As I'm sure you've all seen by now, a new Zelda game is coming out very soon. And not just a new Zelda game, but a remake of Ocarina of Time. A game considered not just the best game in the series by many, but also the best game ever made by a lot of people. I think this legacy is why it feels so unreal that this is actually happening, but it somehow is, and fairly soon. And I am so excited for it. While the trailer we got is short, only showing off what looks to be a small snippet of the intro of the game, my excitement is through the roof, thinking about all the things that we will see in this game. And so I thought it'd be fun to share with you some of the things from Ocarina of Time that I'm most excited to see within this upcoming remake, along with some ideas for maybe new stuff that they could possibly add. And don't forget as you watch along to let me know down in the comments below what parts of the original game you're most excited to see brought to life in this upcoming remake. And while you're at it, why not give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. With that said, let's get started. One of the first things that I thought about after seeing the trailer was all of the monsters and creatures from Ocarina of Time that we'll see in this remake. If you've been around here for a while, you've likely seen that I love the enemies from the Zelda series. The weird, the cute, the creepy, and Ocarina of Time has a great roster of monsters, both classic and reoccurring ones and strange one-offs. My mind instantly went to the super creepy ones though. The Redeads, Stalfos, Bubbles, Skulltulas, Wallmasters, and of course everyone's favourite, the Dead Hand. Bringing these creatures to life in this new, more artistically realistic style is going to be so cool to see, and I really hope they don't hold back on making some of these creatures just as, if not more creepy than they were in the original N64 game. Along with the creepy monsters, I think I'm most looking forward to seeing some of the classics, especially those that haven't been seen in newer games for a while. Creatures like Moblins, Dekubabas, Dodongos, Poes, Deku Scrubs, Octoroks, and so many more. There really are so many cool monsters in Ocarina of Time I cannot wait to see remade. But I was focusing so hard on these smaller creatures, how they could look and maybe be changed, that I completely forgot about how epic the bosses of this game are going to be. No matter how hard or easy you find the bosses of Ocarina of Time, you cannot deny that every single one of them looks really cool. And seeing not just how they look, but how they'll work in the fight and move around the arena is really exciting. Goma crawling on the walls and ceiling, Volvagia bursting out of the ground and flying around the room, Phantom Ganon jumping in and out of paintings. Just thinking about all of these fights and the others in the game, I really cannot wait to see how they all look. Another thing I'm very excited to see, well, to hear, is the music. Ocarina of Time has such an amazing soundtrack. Every track is memorable and iconic to the series. So much so that many of the tracks created for this game have been brought back many other times in other games in the series, in both big and small ways. After Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's lovely but more subtle and calm soundtracks, coming back to this iconic gaming soundtrack completely remade is going to hit extremely hard, especially for those of us who have played the original game. And personally, I feel I'm going to get the most emotional over all of the music in this game over everything else. The Zelda games since Skyward Sword have also used orchestras to make the music for the games, and so this will be something new for this remake, as obviously that wasn't something they did in the original and remaster on 3DS. Some of the tracks I'm most excited to hear remade are Gerudo Valley, Castle Town, Kakariko Village, the intro theme, Kumi and Kotoke's theme, and of course one of my favourites, the Song of Storms. But seriously, every single track on this soundtrack is amazing and I really can't wait to hear all of it. I also really hope we eventually get a physical soundtrack because I know I'm going to be listening to this all the time. It would be pretty cool as well if they took some of the tracks and completely remade them, giving them a whole new vibe. It would also be really cool if they made some completely brand new tracks for this game. Maybe, for example, they do unique boss themes for each of the bosses. Next on my little list is Ganondorf. Yeah, that's it. Okay, but seriously, I am very excited to see this version of Ganondorf again. Not only is his design one of my favourites, it's also the first game with Ganondorf. Before Ocarina of Time, it was just Ganon as his beast form. This is the origin point of the character, and it's really exciting to see this version of him again. With his design, there's actually some small changes you can see between the time skip. His hair grows longer, his eyes go from yellow and white to red and yellow, and you can see his ears become more pointed. He also decides to give himself a very cool looking cape. Little details like those, along with the actual outfit, I'm very excited to see. Especially as we can see already that the costumes are getting some big upgrades to fit this new style. We can see with Link's tunic how it's made from woven grass, perfect for a small child living in the forest. Moving on from things that are 100% going to be in the game in some way, to things that I want to see but may or may not be included depending on how much new stuff or changes they choose to add. There are a lot of locations in Ocarina of Time, and while I feel that most are perfect, there are some places I think could maybe benefit from some small additions. The main location I think of when I think of this is Hyrule Field. There really isn't too much to do here, and unless you're going out of your way to do everything, you likely won't spend much time here, and simply use it as a sort of corridor to get to your next location. As a child, the field has some creatures to fight like Stowkids and Peahats, but as an adult, there strangely is less creatures to fight, only really being the big pose that you can find dotted around. I feel once Hyrule has fallen to Ganon, having more monsters out on Hyrule Field would really add to the feeling that Hyrule has truly been taken over. Maybe in the adult time you could find moblins or even groups of Gerudo on horseback roaming around the field, keeping an eye out for anyone who might cause problems for their king. Horseback fighting would also be a really good addition. Because there are not really any creatures to fight in the field as an adult, apart from the pose that I mentioned before, you really don't get a chance to do horseback combat. And this was actually something that people really wanted to see in the original game, and so it was eventually given to us in Twilight Princess, where we got that super cool horseback fight with Ganondorf. So if they add more enemies to fight in Hyrule Field as an adult, adding horseback combat would go along with that really nicely. I think it could also be really cool to have more small locations like grottos and ledges that can be found and accessed with the correct items. There are a lot of these places in the original game, but having new places for us to find would be really nice. Maybe there's a new fake wall in Castletown that you need the Lens of Truth to find. Maybe there's a ledge on the outside of the castle wall that you need the hookshot to get to. Perhaps there's a target that can only be hit with the slingshot. New little puzzles and small hiding places I think could really make exploring this version of Hyrule such a fun adventure again. Most of us know where all the items can be found in the original, so mixing things up and giving us something new would go a long way. Ocarina of Time was the 5th Zelda game released, and well, there's a lot more than 5 games out now. In that time, over all of these new games to be released, there has been a lot of new lore added to the series. And I think it could be pretty cool to have small pieces of that lore brought to this new game. Now, I don't want anything big and too in your face, more like stuff that you can find in passing. Maybe residents of Hyrule could have a passing mention of Hylia, maybe saying something as simple as thank Hylia instead of thank God. Along with that, maybe we could even find a couple small statues of the goddess hidden around Hyrule. They wouldn't be important to the game, just little bits of decorative world building that you could point at and be like, huh, I know that. Maybe they could even be placed in some of the locations that you could have found gossip stones. Along with Hylia, it would also be pretty cool if we get a passing mention of Demise, perhaps in a similar way to the idea for Hylia. Maybe someone could say how Ganondorf reminds them of the story of a demon king from long ago. Another Skyward Sword thing is maybe hinting towards Fi. The Master Sword is a big part of the original Ocarina of Time game, But obviously, Skyward Sword, the game that Fi was introduced in, came out way later. Like what I said with Hylia and Demise, perhaps there could be a passing mention of a sword spirit, or maybe someone like Zelda or Impa will refer to the Master Sword as she. There could even be a small moment where we hear some of the sounds that she makes, like what we do in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. The last little thing that I have is for the Gerudo. Ocarina of Time was their first appearance. Since then, they've really become fan favourites. Breath of the Wild bringing them back in full force, and they've since appeared in Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom. Unlike those games though, in Ocarina of Time, the Gerudo are an enemy to Hyrule. They follow Ganondorf willingly, and there are very few who don't agree with him. Those who are caught disobeying him will be swiftly dealt with by the Twin Rover sisters. I think seeing the Gerudo culture that we have seen in Breath of the Wild be brought out in full force here would be wonderful. Maybe most Gerudos don't even speak Hylian at all, so their writing is completely in Gerudo. And if voice acting is included, which I'm pretty sure it will be, maybe most of them could speak completely in Gerudo. Though that might be a little bit too much to create an entire Gerudo language. Still, showing them speaking in Gerudo, saying words that we've heard before in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, along with some new words, would be really cool to see. This is a group of people basically exiled from Hyrule. They are seen as criminals, and so they really have no reason to engage in Hylian culture like they do in the later games when they're allies. Maybe there could even be more statues or pictures of the Goddess of the Sands found in the rooms around the fortress. There is a large statue of her in the Spirit Temple in this game, and we see another version of her in Arbiter's Grounds in Twilight Princess, so she's clearly a very important figure to the Gerudo. Having smaller statues like the Hylians have smaller statues of Hylia could be a cool little way to show how they don't pray to the same gods as those in Hyrule. Along with that, it could really be cool if we also got information about the Goddess of the Sands from books in the environment or Gerudo characters, as she has always been quite a mystery to us fans. Long story short, I think it would be really cool to see small little references to events that happened before Ocarina of Time, like those in Skyward Sword shown in this game. Nothing big that would fundamentally change the game, but small little things that are said or seen in passing. The Gerudo idea is definitely the biggest and most fleshed out, but nothing that I feel would change the game, only enhance their character and culture. I think something like that, especially as it's something that we've seen a lot in the newer games, would be really cool to add to the Ocarina of Time remake. There is so much more that I'm excited for from this game. Like I said before, it really doesn't feel real that Ocarina of Time is getting a full remake. Not just an enhanced remaster, but something new. Something made from the ground up to truly bring to life the world, characters and story they wanted to tell all those years ago. I could honestly talk all day about how excited I am to see all of the things remade for this game, but I think that is enough for now. Please tell me in the comments what you are most excited to see from this remake and what you would like to see maybe added or changed. Also, let me know what you thought of my ideas. Maybe some are a little bit out there, but hey, this is all fun. If you have enjoyed the video today, please don't forget to give it a like, as they are the quickest and most easy way to know you did enjoy the content you just watched. Along with that, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and you are new around here. And if you're watching right as this video comes out, you should be able to hype the video, so don't forget to do that so it gets pushed out to more Zelda fans. Thank you all for watching today's video. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!